Hello, and fantastic to have you here. Thank you for joining us. It's nuts and bolts again. How quickly time flies. We've got a great session on today, and it's all about how you can make the most out of those one-on-ones that you're having with your team members. Really, really important to have these one-on-ones, and for a number of reasons that we'll go through. We'll also go through what some ideal things that you can put in your one-on-one so they can be really impactful and effective. And then we'll have some more tips and hints in the end. So stay with me. We've got a great session on today. All right, so how many one-on-ones should you have? It's a great question, and it depends on the size of your team. So I know some leaders that have got fairly smaller teams, maybe 2, 3, 4 people, and they can have a one-on-one every month with each one of their team members, which is fantastic. But then there's other leaders that I know that have got 12, 15, 18 people on their team, and having a once a month one-on-one is just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. So if you can bank on quarterly in that situation, well, then I think that's a great idea. So really it depends on the size of your team. What you don't want to do, that you don't want to get to appraisal time or performance appraisal time and there be any surprises, or so if you get to the appraisal time and all of a sudden someone's told they're underperforming, well, you had all that time during the year to let them know that. And if you're not having your one-on-ones, you might not have the vehicle to convey that message. So therefore, you don't want to have any surprises at the end of the year. And conversely, you don't want to get to the end of the year and say, you've done such a brilliant job, we're looking for you for a promotion and all that, without giving them the recognition and the reward throughout the year. Okay, so really, really important to have these one-on-ones with your team members as often as you can. As I say, quarterly is okay. If you can make it monthly, that's fantastic. Bi-monthly, great. Whatever you can put in there will make a difference, believe you me. And remember, these one-on-ones, they're two-way feedback. It's not just you telling the team member, it's also the team member telling you, oh, this is what I want, this is the career I want to go for, these are the training, and this is the support I need. All those sorts of things are really, really important to bring up in your one-on-ones. So it's not all about what you think, it's actually for your team members. What do they think? How do they feel they're going? Where do they feel like they need the more support? All those sorts of things are really, really important to think about that. Okay, so what should be in those one-on-ones? So there's a variety of things that you can put in your one-on-ones, but here's just a general list that you can go off if you like. So how are they, number one, how are they reviewing? Like, you want to review the progress targets. So how are they going with those targets? It might be projects they're on, tasks they've got to complete, those sorts of things. So how is that going? Just a general conversation about, okay, so we're halfway through the year now. We should be at least, halfway through that particular year-long project. How are you going with that? What support do you need with that? Are you there yet? All those sorts of things, okay? The second thing, accomplishments. What have they done really, really well since you spoke to them last? Oh, that presentation you did last Thursday or the week before on, 10 minutes on your particular workstation was really, really good. Not only did you talk about it, but you showed pictures, you had posters, you had handouts. It was really thorough. Well done. So any sort of achievements they've had since you spoke to them in the last one-on-one. Or adversely to that, what areas of improvement do they need since you spoke to them last? So, okay, so you'd be saying something like, okay, so we took you on that Excel training last, since we spoke last, because we wanted you to get into the spreadsheets. I noticed that you haven't yet, got into those yet. Can you tell me what your barriers are? What's stopping you? Because, that project should have been started last week. So let's talk about what support do you need? How can we get you started? So we're nipping underperformance in the bud as well with these conversations. Okay, so yes, achievement, but also if there's something that's being delayed or not being performed the way you need it to be, these need to be brought up then too. All right, so third one, feedback on behaviours. So we've talked about tasks and projects and things like that. What about behaviours? So things like, I saw you were buddying up with Jenny because she's new on the team and you've been really helping her out. And, that just shows how much, you really love what you're doing and you wanted to share that message. That's great. So if they're showing initiative and all those sorts of behaviours, that's something that you need to applaud and praise and encourage to keep going. If there's behaviours that aren't so advantageous, let's say, that needs to be nipped in the bud as well. Oh, I noticed, in the last couple of weeks when you've come in, you've been a little bit isolated. When people come and speak to you, you've been a bit short with them, a bit direct. Can you tell me what's going on? Okay, so something might have happened at home. Something might be bothering them. They could be cross about something and just hasn't verbalized that to you. So this is where you've got the chance to nip it in the bud really early and have a conversation around that. All right, the fourth one, what about discussion about upcoming priorities? So you've got stuff coming down the line, you know that it's going to be here soon. You want to just feel the water of, how this particular person feels about this particular task, project, whatever that might be coming down the line. Have that discussion. Hey, Joe, do you know, we're thinking about putting some more computers down here, so we're going to need some IT people. And I know that you're really keen on IT stuff at home. I was just wondering if that's a project that sort of, sits well with you. Discuss those priorities that are coming down the line and see if there's any sort of interest in there. All right, number 5, I think we're up to. Discussion about roadblocks. What is stopping them from moving forward? How are they going to deal with this? This is your ability to coach now. So you've got the opportunity here to be able to coach someone through saying, I try and get stuff done, but Sally's got the radio on really loud and such keeps banging in and out the door, and, Judy's on the phone all day and I just can't get through with all this noise. So that's why I'm feeling like I'm a little bit, behind on task. Okay, so how are you going to coach that person around that? All right, so, how are you going to have those discussions? Is there a quiet place that you can go? Can you have a conversation with Sally about, could she bring her earplugs in rather than have the radio on loud? Whatever it may be, coach them through those blockages and barricades that they're coming across and try and, help them come to a solution. Don't give them the solution, but help them come to some sort of solutions. And maybe it's multiple solutions that they can try. Number 6, what support do you need from me? So that's the question you want to ask. What further support do you need from me? I'd love to catch up with you once a week, really for 5 minutes, because I want to know that I'm on the right track with this and blah, 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 blah. Fantastic. You need that support from me. I need to give you a face-to-face for, at least once a week. Great. Good feedback. So that's what you kind of want to do. You want to find out what support they need from you. Number 7, what feedback have you got from me? What can I do differently? How can I make my job, even better? So this is where you're asking for them for feedback on you. Because honestly, every leader, and I say this all the time, every leader has got opportunities to grow and get even better at what they do. So let's use this opportunity to go, what have you got for me? How am I going in this role, do you think? And that's okay to ask. So that's a probably really great opportunity to ask that. It might be something that, especially if you've got reflectors on your team, you might want to set an agenda on your one-on-ones and sort of say, look, I will be asking you for feedback on me, and give them time to reflect on that and be able to come up with some really succinct and creative ways that they can communicate what they want to say. Because if you put them on the spot with that question, they'll probably go, oh, nothing. But, give them time to think and they'll come up with some great feedback for you. All right, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, 8. Ooh. Any questions raised? So have they got any questions? Have they got any queries, burning platforms, anything that they want to speak to you about? So make sure they've got an opportunity to speak here. So what have you got for me? What's going on in your life? What can I help you with? All that sort of stuff should already be coming up. So make sure you encourage that. Remember, this is a two-way kind of feedback tool. So make sure you're using that. And then the last but not least, any future development. So, what do you want to do in your long term? What's your career opportunity? So you could say, oh, Joe, I know you're wanting to get into IT. You're currently in operations. How can we make that happen for you? How can we create some opportunities where maybe you can work with the IT people for a little while, or you can have a cross-pollinated project with them, or maybe you can shadow one of them for a couple of days just to see if that's really you. So you're continuously developing your team members as well, but developing them in ways where they're going to really flourish and thrive because you're leveraging off their strengths. Okay, so there's sorts of things that you can put in a one-on-one. Of course, you can put some other things in there, but these are just sort of a generic list that you can use if you haven't got one at the moment. So hopefully that helps. So just some more tips and hints. Seek feedback. Make sure you seek feedback from them about how they think they're going. So tell me, Jo, how do you think you're going? How do you think you're going? Are you feeling okay? Oh yeah, no, that task's okay. That task's okay. I've got a bit of a struggle with that one, but I'm working it out. So at this stage, I'm not going to call for you for support. Okay, no worries. So at least you know that there is a barrier there, but they're sorting it out themselves. So just make sure that you get that feedback. Help use your own examples to illustrate points. So if you've got something where somebody's underperforming or somebody has done really, really well, use your own examples of, I remember when I did my first presentation, oh my Lord, it was a disaster. I dropped the pages, the notes went everywhere. I got a tickle in my throat, couldn't stop coughing, whatever it may be. Use your own example so it really becomes very humanistic. And make sure you plan your time so it's not just task focused, because you are the people leader. Okay, so you want to increase your people skills, and to do that, you need to talk about other than stuff than just tasks, jobs, projects. You need to ask how people are going, how are their relationships, how they're feeling in themselves with regards to being in the workplace. Now, I think I'm a big advocate of, I'm the leader, and I need you to set time with me so that we can do these to do these one-on-ones. You might not get this immediately, so you might have to set the schedule for your team of when they come in and do their one-on-ones. But I think there's an opportunity there for you to turn it around and say, hey, Jo, we've met for the last last 3 quarters for our one-on-one. I'd love you to schedule in our last one before we get to the performance review. So can you schedule that in my diary? My diary is open to you. You can see exactly what's in it. So you'll see where I've got spots and spaces. So why don't you do that before the end of the day? Schedule 45 minutes in my diary for the next quarter coming up. So you're encouraging them to take that initiative, if you like. And that's when they're going to have more skin in the game. They'll have a bit more ownership over it, and they'll might prepare a little bit more because that's important. And remember, this is an opportunity for you to use your coaching skills. So you're not going to go out and go, oh, well, this is the solution to do this, and this is what you need to do that, and do this by numbers 1, 2, 3. This is a coaching conversation. So if someone comes in there when they've got this blockage and they need support, and they don't know what to do. Okay, so what have you done so far? Oh, I've done A, B, C. What's worked out of that? Oh, only A. So what do we want to do for, so you're going to be coaching them. Yes, you're going to support them and give them some hints and tips, but you're also going to coach them to get to a result at the end. These are all development opportunities, brilliant areas to not only for you to grow your coaching skills, but for them to get resilience and problem solving and all those sorts of things. So I hope that helped. But one-on-ones are really, really important. I say again, you do not want to get to the end of the year at the performance review and go, oh, you've underperformed all year, or you've done such an excellent job above and beyond, we're going to give you a promotion, or we're going to look at you for something else. They do not want to be, that shouldn't be the first time they hear that information, okay? So again, if you've got a small team, once a month, fantastic. If you've got a medium-sized team, maybe once every 6 weeks, once every 2 months. If you've got a very large team, try and get them in once a quarter. And make sure it's around a 45-minute conversation. You don't want any less than that, because you'll find yourself rushing at the end, and then it doesn't portray the message that you care. The other thing I want you to avoid doing is try not to, once a one-on-one is locked in and you've both agreed, yes, that's a great day and time, I do not want you to start thinking about cancelling it, moving it, changing it, whatever. If at all possible, that is locked in, because as soon as you change it, cancel it, delete it, move it, the message you are sending to your team member is that you don't really care, you're not prioritizing it, we'll get to it, it's a checklist tick in the box thing. And you do not want them to think that, because you do care, you do want to know what's going on in their life, right? Because you're their leader. So if stuff comes in, or you have to go interstate or whatever, then go and see that person face to face and say, hey, Jo, next Thursday we've got our one-on-one. I've just been told I've got to pop to Sydney for a meeting on that Thursday, but I really want to make sure that we can get together because it's important to me. So what's a good day? Are you free on Friday? if you have to change it, then go and have that conversation with them so they understand that you still care, that you're still prioritizing them. This is just something that you cannot avoid. So I hope that helps. I hope that your one-on-ones are going really well. I'd love to hear about them. If you've got a question about one-on-ones or a question about anything at all, just contact us here at ask@teamleadertoolkit.com and we will answer your questions in a video. All right. Now, make sure you tune in next week. We've got a great session on next week. It's all about, I think my team hate me. I've heard that so many times. So we're going to talk about that. So I look forward to speaking to you next week. But until then, bye for now. See you later.